Learn how to add a getter to an object using object.define property method. We want to look at an example of how we can add getters to our objects with the object.define property method. A getter is a special property that runs a function when you access it. That is what getters is. Now, let's go ahead and look at the steps that are already outlined inside this script part with comments. The first step says create object person. 2. Add property first name and last name. 3. Use object.define property method. 4. Add a getter for full name. 5. Access person.full name. And 6. Display result. So we followed each of these steps one after the other to construct the example. So I'll start by creating a person object. So I'll go ahead and make cons person equals first name and last name. So now I have my property stated out. Step 2, add properties, first name and last name. I've done that. Step 3, use object define property. Object.define property. Then you passed in your object person, and inside this, I want to add a getter for full name. So I'll just go ahead and make a getter. And inside it, I want to return these dots. First name, space, this dot last. So, it's this now. I think there's an error, but let me find out what this is. This is expected. Okay. Let's see. That's because I am omitting something. So I need to set the getter before I am calling what is it called? This keyword with the first name and last name. So I'll move this one inside of it. And now you can see that the error has disappeared because I've fixed it. So this is the getter that I am setting here. So now that I have this, I can go ahead and display results. Document the get element by IT. To select the element where I want the results to display, and then we'll use inner.html to update it. So how do I display the results? What exactly am I trying to display? I'm just trying to display the full name. So that will comprise of the first name and the last name. How do I do that in this scenario? Well, quickly think about it for about 2 seconds. Okay. If you get it correctly, that's fine. But if you don't get it, don't worry. So what we are going to display here is the object name and the method that we have inside our object.define property. And that method is full name. That's the name. So we're going to just call it. And don't forget, this is a getter. We don't need this. If I do this, it will not work. Because you use getter as like a property and not like a function call. So you will just use it like this without that opening and square bracket, and then you can see it will give us and pop up the full name on the screen. So what this example does is that it creates a full name property here that automatically combines first name and then last name. So Like I said, getters run when property is accessed and doesn't need any parentheses. So because we already define it here using the object to define property, and it is used for computed value, like the way it combine both names together. So here we added a getter called full name using divine property, which is here. And when we access person.full name, it automatically runs this function and returns the full name. So the purpose of getter is a property that runs code when read. So getter allow objects to behave like they have smart property instead of static values. And the object.define property method gives us full control to turn simple property into dynamic computed value using getter. You can see that here it's just simply combine the name and it gave us the result on our screen. So let's assume we have one more property for our object. For example, let's say I add age and call it 17. And now I just add it here as well and say, okay, I want you, you know what? I want you to return the age as well. Now just get what will happen. So you can see that this makes it dynamic and easy or easier to maintain, in the sense that if I need to make changes by adding the property and passing it into my getter form, into my get method, I can easily just update the content of my object or the output of my object without making any special or extra functions that will just pollute or destructure my code. So here you can see how useful getter functions can be when it comes to working with functions or working with objects in JavaScript.